Good morning, students. Uh, in yesterday's class, we have discussed about the methods of preparations of haloalkanes and haloarenes and physical properties of haloalkanes and haloarene compounds. In today's class, we will be discussing about the properties, chemical properties of haloalkanes as well as haloarenes, and it takes more time for the completion of chemical properties of haloalkanes and haloarenes, as we have number of properties. And yesterday's at the last point of minute, I have mentioned about the three different types of chemical properties, chemical reactions of haloalkanes and haloarenes. First one is nucleophilic substitution reactions, and second one is going to be elimination reactions, and third part is said to be the action with various types of metals. In case of nucleophilic substitution reactions, we come across with the two important mechanism also. One is SN1 mechanism and next one is SN2 mechanism. So first we will start with nucleophilic substitution reactions. Very important type of reactions, that is nucleophilic substitution reactions. Alkyl halides are the compounds, haloalkanes. Alkyl halides are haloalkanes of the compounds which undergoes extensively such type of nucleophilic substitution reactions. In case of this nucleophilic substitution reaction, this is Rx, that is an alkyl halide or haloalkane, when it is treated with a nucleophile. Usually the particular nucleophile is said to be the stronger nucleophile which can replace the existing halide ion here, and when nucleophile replaces the existing halide ion, it gets converted into nucleophilic substituted compound, plus this is said to be X minus halide ion. And generally in case of this substitution reactions, X minus is generally referred to be as a leaving group. X minus is referred to be as a leaving group. Better the leaving group, so rate of nucleophilic substitution reactions is also found to be more. So as the leaving group is found to be better one, so rate of this particular substitution reaction also takes place in a good manner. So the better leaving group in case of halides, suppose if you are going to be having a halide, that is I minus, next one is Br minus, after that Cl minus, next one is Ef minus. When an haloalkane compound or alkyl halide contains either iodide, bromide, chloride and chloride, in which case the substitution reaction takes place extensively. So the order of leaving group is taking place in this manner. Iodide is said to be the strongest leaving group or better leaving group compared to bromide, and fluoride is the weakest leaving group. So compounds containing fluorine, whenever the alkyl halide contains fluorine, so that reaction takes place very slowly, whereas the compound contains iodine, that particular compound undergoes nucleophilic substitution reactions very easily. It is mainly because of this iodide ion is said to be better leaving group. Then the next question arises, why iodide is said to be better leaving group? Iodide is called as better leaving group. It is mainly because of large size when compared to other three different types of halides. Naturally, from iodide to corresponding fluoride, the size of the ion, size of the particular atom goes on decreases. When the size of the atom goes on decreases, the compound, the particular compound is said to be better leaving group. So because of larger size of iodide, this one is said to be better leaving group. So any particular compound, if in the examination if you come across with the various types of compounds, which of the following compound undergoes substitution reactions very easily, means you have to concentrate on the type of the particular halide ion. Wherever iodide is present, it undergoes that substitution reaction. It does not depend upon only iodide ion. Suppose if the alkyl group is found to be same, but halogen atoms are found to be different, wherever iodine is going to be there, it undergoes substitution reactions very easily. So What are the different types of substitution reactions? So here the nucleophile is playing very important role. We have various types of nucleophiles. So depending upon the nature of the molecule, we classify this nucleophilic substitution reactions into number of types depending upon the nature of the nucleophile. So we come across with number of types here. So first one, substitution by OH group. How the particular OH group replaces the halide ion from the alkyl halide. So nucleophilic substitution, generally every time I won't mention about nucleophilic, so totally substitution by OH group. Whenever substitution takes place by OH group, then formation of what type of compound takes place? Very simple reactions are there. Formation of respective alcohols takes place. Whenever the existing nucleophile, existing halide ion is replaced by this OH group, then the formation of respective alcohol takes place. Just to concentrate here, this is RH, that is an alkyl halide. When this alkyl halide is treated with the aqueous potassium hydroxide, KOH, aqueous potassium hydroxide. Now the compound obtained is going to be ROH. As I mentioned earlier, so this particular OH minus ion replaces the halide ion, hence it converts into ROH plus, naturally it is going to be KX. So aqueous KOH is a particular substance which ionizes into K plus and OH minus. Because of the ionization of K plus and OH minus replaces the corresponding halide ion, so converts into respective alcohol compound. So same type of reaction takes place in presence of some other particular reagent. Even you can take sodium hydroxide, aqueous sodium hydroxide, or moist AzOH, silver hydroxide, or we can start the reaction with a moist Az2O. So in presence of all these reagents also, the particular compound obtained is an alcoholic compound takes place. So any alkyl halide is treated with either any of these corresponding reagents, the compound obtained is going to be an alcoholic compound. We'll take some of the examples here. You can take CH3Br, simple methyl bromide compound. When it is treated with aqueous sodium hydroxide, NaOH, so the compound obtained is, it is CH3OH plus NaBr. CH3OH is called as methanol, or commonly it is called as methyl alcohol. This is going to be the methyl bromide compound. Common name is methyl bromide. IUPAC name bromomethane. IUPAC name of this compound is methanol. Common name is going to be methyl alcohol. Number of reactions, and this particular substitution by OH group takes place by SN2 mechanism. What is the meaning of SN2 mechanism? Next part we are discussing about this SN1 and SN2 mechanism. So this particular substitution takes place by SN2 mechanism. In case of SN2 mechanism, usually alkyl halide is said to be primary alkyl halide. What is the type of alkyl halide it is? Is it primary or secondary or tertiary? CH3Br is the simplest primitive alkyl halide. It is said to be primary. Whenever primary alkyl halide is present, so naturally that reaction takes place by SN2 mechanism. In detail about that, once if you study about SN1 and SN2 mechanism, you can understand the particular type of the reaction, whether it takes place by SN1 or SN2 mechanism. Next one, another example, CH3, this is CH2, next one is going to be Cl. When it is treated with any of the reagent, that is AzOH, it is in moist condition. When it is treated with AzOH, the compound obtained is an alcohol CH3, CH2OH plus, this is AgCl. This one is an ethanol compound, and this is also a primary alkyl halide. So what happens when you go with a particular compound like CH3, this is C, this one is going to be CH3, this is CH3, and this is Cl. It's a tertiary alkyl halide. Usually tertiary alkyl halide does not undergo by SN2 mechanism, they undergo by SN1 mechanism. But here in case of this one, it is naturally we consider this one with a weak nucleophile. H2 is going to be considered as a weak nucleophile. So when this particular compound is treated with even water also, the compound produced is an alcohol, and this compound is generally called as, this compound is commonly known as tertiary butyl alcohol. Tertiary butyl alcohol. But this particular reaction takes place by SN1 mechanism because the compound is going to be a tertiary alkyl halide. Don't worry about SN1 and SN2. You will get very complete clarity about SN1 and SN2 after discussion of the mechanism of SN1 and SN2. So this one is a tertiary alkyl halide. For tertiary alkyl halide, the particular base is going to be whatever the nucleophile is going to be there, that particular weak nucleophile is going to be enough to carry out the reaction. Totally we have converted the alkyl halide into respective alcohol compound. So this is the reaction substitution by OH group. So compound of alkyl halide is converted into alcohol by any of these reagents, either by aqueous KOH or by aqueous NaOH or by moist silver hydroxide or by moist silver oxide. Instead of moist, if you take dry silver oxide, it gets converted into another compound that is going to be ether. So that preparation of ether it will come across. So it is, in case of aqueous NaOH and aqueous KOH, it is mandatory, it is compulsory to mention about aqueous nature. Otherwise, in case of alcoholic KOH, it will produce, it will give different type of product. So this is the substitution by OH group. So in case of this reaction, all alkyl halides are converted into respective alcohols in presence of all these different types of reagents. So this is one first substitution reaction by OH group. Copy it. Okay. After this substitution by OH group, when halogen atom is substituted by OH group, next one, second reaction, B, substitution by OR group. Substitution by OR group. That is, OR is said to be an alkoxide ion. In this case, formation of ether compound takes place. Formation of ether. Substitution by OR minus. That is alkoxide group. Alkoxy group. Here Rx is a particular compound, alkyl halide. When this is treated with NaOR, so this compound is generally represented as sodium alkoxide. Sodium alkoxide. When it is sodium alkoxide compound is treated with alkyl halide, the compound produced is said to be ROR dash. If you take this one as R dash to differentiate this alkyl group and this alkyl group. Plus, what is another byproduct here? That is NaX. Now you can observe clearly this particular halide group is replaced by this particular alkoxide group. When halide is replaced by alkoxide compound, so what is the compound produced? So this compound is generally represented as ether compound. So formation of ether takes place in case of such type of reaction. One example, if you consider CH3, this is Br plus one sodium alkoxide NaOCH3. NaOCH3. When this particular compound NaOCH3, this is called as sodium methoxide. Sodium alkoxide is a common name, and sodium methoxide particularly because of the presence of methyl group. This is bromomethyl. So what is the product obtained in case of this reaction? This sodium combines with the Br. As a result, this is CH3O, this one is CH3 plus NaBr, sodium bromide. What is the name of this compound? This compound is generally called as methoxymethane. IUPAC name is called as methoxymethane, and common name of this compound is found to be dimethyl ether. It is known as dimethyl ether, that is common name. So totally formation of ether takes place in case of this reaction wherever halide ion is substituted by this alkoxy group. One more example for this type. One more example if you consider for this type of reaction. This is CH3, this is CH2, next one is Br plus. Another one alkoxide NaOCH2 and CH3. So what is the compound obtained here? What is the name of this compound? It is bromoethane. IUPAC name is bromoethane, and the compound is called as sodium ethoxide. Okay, sodium ethoxide. What happens here? This sodium and bromine combined together, the compound obtained is CH3, CH2O, CH2, CH3 plus NaBr. Right? What is the name of this ether compound? So here this compound is said to be alkoxy alkane generally. It is called as ethoxy ethane compound. Ethoxy ethane, and commonly this compound is known as diethyl ether. Diethyl ether. So wherever such type of ethers are formed by using sodium alkoxide, so this particular reaction is also known as Williamson's ether synthesis. This reaction is referred to be as Williamson's ether synthesis. Williamson's ether synthesis. Again we have to discuss this particular reaction in the preparation of ethers. So same reaction we come across, Williamson's ether synthesis. Conversion of alkyl halides into what? The respective ether compound takes place. Right? Next one, important example. Suppose here the compound produced is said to be CH3. This is carbon. CH3C, it is CH3, this is CH3, this is OCH3. It is an ether, OCH3. What's the name of this one? It is methyl tertiary butyl ether. Methyl tertiary butyl ether. This is the particular ether. So here what should be the respective alkyl halide? This is RX. And what should be the respective the compound RONA, sodium alkoxide. What is the nature of this particular alkyl halide and what is the nature of sodium alkoxide to get that particular ether? Why I am referring to this example? Because this is very important question. Suppose here two possibilities, if you consider two possibilities. What are the two different possibilities to get that particular compound? Just you observe here. You can get that compound, the alkyl halide is found to be CH3C, this is CH3, this is what you can consider the Br, okay, plus the particular alkoxide is said to be, what is that alkoxide? This is sodium O, this one is CH3. When we react these two compounds, the formation of this particular ether takes place, no doubt. Another possibility is that, this is first possibility. Another possibility is that this particular compound can also be produced by using CH3Br plus this is sodium, this is oxygen, next one CH3, this is CH3 and next one is CH3. When sodium and bromide are going to be separated, there is a formation of the same compound takes place. Now the question is, whether this particular mixture gives rise to this compound or this mixture gives rise to this compound. So both are not possible here. Out of these two possibilities, only one is correct. Try to understand. So this is called as tertiary butyl bromide combines with sodium ethoxide. That compound is one possibility. Another possibility is that methyl bromide combines with this tertiary alkoxide. So tertiary sodium alkoxide. So this compound is found to be possible. Out of these two possibilities, which one is found to be correct? Remember here in case of Williamson's, one of the condition for the Williamson's ether synthesis, remember that is very important condition. Whatever the alkyl halide we are using in this one, alkyl halide should be primary. Whatever the alkyl halide is going to be there, that alkyl halide should be primary, and respective sodium alkoxide compound. Remember, very important. Respective sodium alkoxide may be primary or secondary or tertiary. That doesn't matter. But alkyl halide is going to be primary. What happens if you take secondary and tertiary alkyl halides? If secondary or tertiary alkyl halide is considered, then it will undergo elimination reaction than substitution reaction. This will prefer to undergo elimination reaction. When elimination reaction takes place, formation of an alkene takes place instead of formation of ether. So, to get the particular ether compound, to get the corresponding ether compound, the particular alkyl halide must be primary and sodium alkoxide must be corresponding tertiary. So, this possibility of getting that particular compound is going to be correct with respect to this one, but this particular mixture does not corresponds to formation of ether. This mixture is going to be converted into CH3C. This is what CH3, and next one is going to be double bond CH. So this product is going to be possible because it undergoes elimination reaction. Why it undergoes elimination reaction when compared to substitution reaction? We will discuss about this one in case of the preparation of ethers by using say Williamson's ether synthesis in the topic alcohol, phenol as well as ether. So just to remember here, to get the particular ether compound, the alkyl halide must be primary, but sodium alkoxide may be primary or secondary or tertiary. If we go with secondary or tertiary alkyl halide, then it will undergo elimination reaction. The product of elimination reaction is going to be always an alkene compound. So concentrate about based upon this particular Williamson's ether synthesis. So this is about the conversion of alkyl halide into respective ether by using respective sodium alkoxide, and this reaction is called as Williamson's ether synthesis. Please copy it. Right? This is second type of substitution reaction by alkoxy group. Next, after this substitution by OH group and substitution by alkoxy group, next one is substitution by an important group, that is cyanide. Third one, see, substitution by Cn minus, cyanide group. Then which compounds are produced in this reaction? Formation of, when substitution takes place by cyanide group, formation of respective cyanides takes place. Formation of cyanides. Here in case of substitution by cyanide group, this is alkyl halide. When alkyl halide is treated with the potassium cyanide, KCl, potassium cyanide. When it is combined with potassium cyanide, then naturally Cn minus, this is an ionic compound, K plus and Cn minus, it is RCN plus, this is going to be Kx. It is called as a cyanide compound, and it is respective nitrile compound. The IUPAC name of that compound will discuss by taking some examples here. Suppose if you go with particular compound CH3CH2Br plus, this is going to be what? KCl, potassium cyanide, it gives rise to CH3CH2Cl plus it is KBr. Now this compound is known as propane nitrile. IUPAC name is propane nitrile, and common name is going to be ethyl cyanide. This compound is ethyl cyanide. Ethyl cyanide. Like that, number of examples you can consider. CH3, CH2, CH2, this is I plus KCl. Potassium cyanide, what is the particular product? Here the compound is CH3, CH2, CH2, and this is Cl plus Ki. It is called as 4 carbon atoms are there in longest chain, so it is butane nitrile. and common name it is called as propyl cyanide. This is propyl group and this is found to be cyanide group, propyl cyanide. So this is an example for conversion of this one. Here 3 carbon atoms are there. Product is containing totally 4 carbon atom. This is an example for ascent of carbon chain, ascent of series. Remember, wherever in any particular reactions, in case of most of the conversions, we come across with ascent of series and descent of series. If you want to increase the number of carbon atom in the particular product, then you can go with this particular reaction. In so many conversions, we come across with the reaction with potassium cyanide. Whenever any particular compound of such type combines with potassium cyanide, it undergoes ascent of series. Ascent means total number of carbon atom goes on, increases. Then what is descent of series opposite to this one? Descent of series means number of carbon atom decreases. Wherever number of carbon atom decreases, that is called as descent of series. If you remember yesterday's class, RCOOAZ, that is silver salt of fatty acid, is treated with the bromine in presence of CCl4. CCl4, right? This is RBr plus AzBr. This one is found to be CO2. Can you remember the name of this reaction? Yesterday's class we have discussed in detail about this one. This reaction is commonly known as Hunts-Dicker reaction. In case of Hunts-Dicker reaction, if you go particularly, if you go with instead of this alkyl group, I go with carbon chain. Now, if it is found to be CH3, I will consider this one as CH3, and this is found to be what? CH3Br, right? Now, what is the total number of carbon atoms here? Total number of carbon atoms are 2. What's the number of carbon atoms in case of product? Only 1 carbon atom is there. So, total number of carbon atom has been decreased. Wherever the number of carbon atom has been decreased, this is an example for ascent of series. This is not a nucleophilic substitution reaction. Just remember, just I have mentioned this example to give a difference between ascent of series and descent of series. Here number of carbon atoms are increasing, ascent of series. Here number of carbon atoms are decreasing. It is called as descent of series, right? So, whenever any particular compound of alkyl halide is treated with potassium cyanide, it gets converted into respective cyanide compound. Respective cyanide compound, that is replacement by using the substitution by using the cyanide group. Next one, supposing the compound of alkyl halide is treated with AgCl, silver cyanide. What is the product obtained in case of this reaction? There it was potassium cyanide. Now here we are using silver cyanide. Whether the product is going to be RCN only. So here the product obtained is going to be RNC. What is that NC? It is going to be called as isocyanide group, plus it is going to be AZX. Now this is called as an isocyanide compound. Isocyanide. One example, CH3Br plus AgCl. CH3Br plus AgCl. The product obtained here, it is CH3NC plus it is AzBr. Methyl, this one is going to be called as methane isonitrile. IUPAC name is methane isonitrile. Common name is going to be methyl isocyanide. Number of examples we can mention for this particular reaction: CH3CH2I plus it is AgCN compound. So the product is CH3, CH2, CH2, this is NC plus AgI. It is commonly known as propyl isocyanide and IUPAC name is going to be propane isonitrile compound. So, probably you are getting one particular doubt here. Potassium cyanide is going to be converted into respective cyanide compound and silver cyanide is converted into respective isocyanide compound. Why this difference of formation of two different compounds, cyanide and isocyanide, when same set of compound is going to be used? Potassium cyanide gives cyanide, silver cyanide gives corresponding isocyanide compound. What is the difference in case of these two compounds? That is very important point here. Even in case of board examination also they may be asking about the difference of formation of product between potassium cyanide and silver cyanide. If you observe the compounds of potassium cyanide and silver cyanide, carefully if you are observing that one, you will get a difference of this particular product. Potassium cyanide is an ionic compound. When potassium cyanide is an ionic compound, the bonding between this K plus and Cl minus is purely ionic in nature. It dissociates easily, so bonding takes place with carbon atom of cyanide group. When the bonding takes place with carbon atom of cyanide group, so respective compound produced is going to be isocyanide. And in case of AgCl, silver cyanide, potassium is a metal, silver is also found to be metal. When both are found to be metal, then why the product is found to be different? If you observe this one, this particular compound is predominantly, this compound is found to be predominantly covalent in nature. Covalent in nature. The bonding between silver and corresponding carbon is found to be predominantly covalent in nature. If the compound is having covalent character, dissociation is going to be quite difficult. Then the question arises, why it should be covalent in nature? Why this particular bonding between silver and cyanide is found to be covalent? You understood about this one. The simple reason, it's an alkali metal. Bonding between alkali metal and this one is found to be ionic in nature. That's fine. But why the bonding between silver and carbon atom in case of AgCl is covalent in nature? That is the question. The particular covalent nature of AgCl can be understood by using one important principle, that is Fussen's rule. According to this Fussen's rule, the particular substance is having covalent character when small size of cation. Small size of cation, if it is there, it is having covalent character. The next one is going to be large size of anion. Large size of anion. It is having covalent character. Third important point is that the cation, if it is having, cation has pseudo noble gas configuration. When the cation is having pseudo noble gas configuration, in that case, the particular bonding is said to be predominantly covalent in nature. Small size of cation and large size of anion. Now, if you consider these two compounds, size of potassium and size of silver is almost same. There is might be small difference is going to be there, but much difference is not observed between size of potassium and silver. Small difference may be possible. And large size of anion, both are having same cyanide ion. Then these two parameters are not considered in case of this particular set of example. Then cation with a pseudo noble gas configuration. When cation is going to be having pseudo noble gas configuration, in that case the particular substance is having covalent character. If you write the electronic configuration of silver, if you mention about this one, it is having atomic number of probably 47. When you write the electronic configuration of this particular silver, you will come across with the presence of 4d electron, 4d10 electrons, 4d10 and 5s1 is going to be there. Outermost configuration is going to be 4d10 and 5s1. But the thing is that these d electrons are going to be shielding the outermost electrons. Poor shielding of corresponding d electrons is considered here. Poor shielding property of d electrons. The electrons come closer to each other. The shielding property, yes, electrons are going to be shielding to the maximum extent. Next one is going to be P. Next one is D. D is going to be somewhat poor, and F is going to be again very poor. The shielding property of D and F electron is going to be very poor. When the particular electrons are going to be poorly shielded, then the electron come closer to each other. As a result, the particular substance is said to have covalent in nature. So, because of this particular cation with a pseudo noble gas configuration, that too with d electrons are going to be shielding very poorly. So, because of that reason, the particular silver cyanide bonding between silver and carbon atom is going to be covalent in nature. So, what happens when the bonding is going to be covalent in nature, and why the compound is going to be respective isocyanide? Just when the bonding is going to be particular covalent in nature, just to observe this one. Silver cyanide is a compound AgCl. When the bonding between silver and carbon atom is covalent in nature, this one does not ionizes easily. When this compound does not ionize easily, anyway, nitrogen is having a lone pair of electron, then the bonding takes place through nitrogen atom. Nitrogen atom is going to be bonding. This is Rx silver cyanide. Silver cyanide. If it is potassium cyanide, just you observe this one. Cleavage takes place here. Carbon attacks on the alkyl group, so formation of respective cyanide takes place very easily. But since the particular Az and carbon atom are having covalent character, so nitrogen is having lone pair of electron, this cleavage does not take place as takes place easily in case of potassium cyanide. Hence bonding takes place through nitrogen. When bonding takes place from nitrogen atom, the compound obtained is going to be RNC instead of RCN. So formation of cyanide takes place on the compound if it is having ionic character. Formation of isocyanide takes place when the compound is having such type of covalent character. So because of this difference in the property of potassium cyanide and AzCN, the formation of cyanide as well as isocyanide takes place. If they ask in examination, just to concentrate, potassium cyanide is a compound with maximum percentage of ionic character, so formation of cyanide. If it is having AzCN compound, then it gives rise to respective isocyanide compound. In case of coordination chemistry, we have the particular substances called as CN and NC. These particular CN and NC are generally referred to be as ambidentate substances. There it is called as ambidentate ligands. Ambidentate ligands means the particular ligands are having same chemical composition, but donor atoms are found to be different. Here donor atom is carbon, here donor atom is going to be nitrogen. Because of that reason, it is commonly called as ambidentate ligand compounds. Ambidentate ligands. So this is the substitution by corresponding cyanide group. Remember, when potassium cyanide is used, the compound produced is found to be respective cyanide. It is also called as nitrile. When the compound is said to be, reagent is said to be AzCN, the compound obtained is found to be an isocyanide compound. Remember carefully. Okay, students, we have completed about 3 different types of reactions in case of substitution. This one. Next one, fourth one, D. Substitution by NH2 group. Substitution by NH2 group. So this NH2 nitrogen contains a lone pair of electrons. When substitution takes place in NH2 group, what compounds are produced here? Remember, formation of amines. Wherever halogen from the alkyl halide is replaced by NH2 group, formation of amines takes place. This is RX. When this compound is treated with the NH3, ammonia, NH3, that is ammonia, alcoholic ammonia. So the compound obtained is RNH2 plus this is going to be HX. RNH2 plus HX. So this compound is generally referred to be as an amine, primary amine compound. If you go with an example, CH3, CH2, Br plus this one is an ammonia, alcoholic ammonia compound, right? This is converted into CH3, CH2, NH2 plus what is that product? HBr. What is the name of this compound? Commonly it is called as ethylamine. IUPAC name is called as ethane amine. IUPAC name of this compound is going to be ethane amine. But in case of this particular reaction, there is a possibility of continuation of reaction. That is, whenever Rx combines with this particular ammonia, it gets converted into RNH2. What is that RNH2? It is a primary amine. Further, this one is treated with another alkyl halide. What is that possibility? This X is going to be removed by another particular hydrogen atom. So NH, this NH and this is going to be R. RNHR. This is commonly called as primary amine. This one is called as a secondary amine. Okay, secondary amine. Further, this particular compound is treated with another one alkyl halide. It gets further converted into RNR. This is R. It is called as tertiary amine. And meanwhile, here elimination of what compound takes place? HX. Here also elimination of HX. This is also elimination of HX. Further, this compound is treated with another alkyl halide compound. Finally, it gives rise to RNR. This is R. It is coordinate bond R, and next one is going to be plus. This is X minus. So this R group is going to be attached on nitrogen atom because of the presence of lone pair of electrons on the nitrogen atom. Then halide ion is present surrounding this particular group. It is commonly called as quaternary ammonium salt. Commonly it is called as quaternary ammonium salt. So why it is called as salt? Because of the presence of those positive and negative charge. This product, this formation of quaternary salt is commonly known as Hofmann ammonolysis. This is commonly called as Hofmann ammonolysis reaction. If we go with an example for this Hofmann ammonolysis by taking in alkyl halide, particular alkyl halide. If I start with CH3Br plus this is going to be NH3, next one it gets converted into CH3NH2 methylamine. Methylamine is treated with another one CH3Br. What is the product here? CH3, this is NH and this is CH3. This is called as primary amine. What's the name of this one? Methanamine. It is a secondary amine. What's the common name? Dimethylamine. Further, this is treated with another molecule of alkyl halide CH3Br. What's the product here? Similar to this one, CH3N. This is CH3. This is CH3. It is a tertiary amine. Further, if it is treated with the next molecule of alkyl halide, so the product obtained is CH3N. This is CH3. This is CH3, and coordinate bond CH3. Next, halide ion is present surrounding this one. It is commonly it is called as quaternary ammonium salt, but particular name you have to find out. It is how many methyl groups are present totally around nitrogen atom? 4 methyl groups are present. Tetramethyl ammonium bromide. The complete name is tetramethyl ammonium bromide. So this is the complete name of the salt. It is commonly known as quaternary ammonium salt. So successively, continuously, that hydrogen atom of the particular amine is going to be replaced by alkyl group. As a result, primary amine, secondary amine, as well as tertiary amine, and finally it converts into quaternary ammonium salt. Here, whether you can go with a similar type of alkyl group, here we have got methylamine. Next we have taken methyl bromide. Instead of methyl bromide, you can start with again next ethyl bromide also. If you get this different types of, if you start with a different type of alkyl halide, naturally all the alkyl groups are not found to be the same, they are found to be different. So generally it is called as quaternary ammonium salt. That makes no difference in case of this reaction. So primary amine is one which has got NH2 group. Secondary amine is one which has got NH group. Tertiary amine contains only the nitrogen atom. So this is about the substitution by what group? NH2 group. So what compounds are produced here? Amines. Basically, formation of primary amine takes place if you carry out the reaction continuously. If you take the mixture in a closed vessel, the complete reaction takes place, and finally you will get quaternary ammonium salt compound. Copy this one. Fine. After this, the cell will continue here itself. Next one, E. This is substitution by NO2 group. Substitution by NO2 group. Here also a small doubt is possible. It is very similar to this cyanide group just we have completed. Substitution by NO2 group. NO2 means it is a nitro group. This is RX alkyl halide. When it is treated with KNO2. What is the name of KNO2? Potassium nitrate. When this compound is treated with potassium nitrate, the compound obtained here it is RNO2 plus this is KX. RNO2 plus it is going to be KX. If you see the structure of potassium nitrate, this is potassium, oxygen, nitrogen, double bond, oxygen. Potassium nitrate. What happens? What is the nature of this compound? R, this is O, N, double bond O. This compound formation takes place. You can write in examination like this also, but if you write in this particular format, then it will be very, very clear. RONO2. So such type of compound is going to be possible. Suppose when the same alkyl halide is treated with, it is AgNO2, silver nitrate. AgNO2, silver nitrate compound. So this is Ag, it is O, it is N double bond O. This is the structure of silver nitrate. So what is the product obtained? Product is going to be RNO2 plus this is KX. It is also RNO2 and this is also going to be RNO2. But difference is that here the compound obtained is going to be this. So here the formation of RNO2 takes place and that is having structure of this one Rn. Here alkyl group is bonded to oxygen atom. Here alkyl group is bonded to which one? Nitrogen atom. So wherever alkyl group is bonded to this particular nitrogen atom, these compounds are generally called as nitroalkanes. Now this compound is referred to be as nitroalkanes. And this type of compounds are generally called as alkyl nitrites. These are commonly called as alkyl nitrites. I'll explain with an example. What is the difference, exact difference between KNO2 as well as AgNO2 compound? Nitrite compounds and nitro compounds. Okay. Now if you go with an example by using the same set of reagents. This is CH3Br methyl bromide, and when it is treated with the potassium nitrate KNO2, what is the compound produced here? The compound obtained is going to be CH3NO2. We have to mention that compound as ON double bond O plus it is going to be potassium bromide. What's the name of this particular compound? It is called as methyl nitrite. Methyl nitrite compound. And similarly CH3Br methyl bromide combines with AgNO2 silver nitrite. So here the compound obtained is going to be CH3NO2 itself KBr, and if you see the structure of this one, it is N double bond O and coordinate bond oxygen. What's the name of this compound? It is called as nitromethane. What is the difference between methyl nitrite and nitromethane? Just to observe the structure. In case of methyl nitrite, bonding takes place between oxygen and carbon. Here bonding takes place between nitrogen and particular carbon atom. Why this difference when same set of reagents are used? Potassium nitrate and silver nitrate. Already we have discussed about KCN, difference between KCN as well as AgCN. This one also takes place in the same manner. It is mainly because of ionic in nature. This one is going to be mainly because of covalent in nature. So formation of two different products are going to be possible. So this one substitution by NO2 group is going to be very similar to substitution by which one? Cyanide group. It is mainly because of ionic character of this compound and covalent character of this compound. So formation of two different products are going to be possible. It's methyl nitrite and this one is commonly known as nitromethane. So these are also referred to be as I already mentioned, ambidentate ligands. Students, ambidentate ligands. That is NO2 is called as nitro and ONO. This group is called as ONO. It is called as nitrite. This is nitrite and this one is commonly called as nitro compound. So Both are having one nitrogen atom and two oxygen atom, but here bonding takes place with nitrogen atom and here bonding takes place with oxygen atom. It is generally referred to as nitro, this is generally referred to as nitrate. This formation of two different compounds are going to be possible mainly because of difference in the properties of potassium nitrate as well as what? Silver nitrate. This is substitution by NO2 group. So both compounds are not same. By writing RNO2 and this RNO2, it appears, it looks like that both compounds are found to be same, but it depends upon the nature of potassium and nature of corresponding silver, which is bonded to respective oxygen atoms. So this compound is alkyl nitrate and next compound is found to be what? Nitroalkane compound. Please copy it. Right? After this, next one is next substitution reaction. Next substitution reaction, that is F. Action with RCOOAZ. About this molecule RCOAZ is in yesterday's class, just even today also I mentioned about this one. It is silver salt of fatty acid. This is silver salt of fatty acid. So this is Rx. Probably you might be getting an idea what type of compound is possible here. This is alright, AZCOOR. Same in reverse I mentioned about. It is RCOAZ, I mentioned about AZCOR. This X side AZ are eliminated very easily. Then can you mention about the presence of nucleophile in this compound? The nucleophile in this compound is RCOO minus, carboxylate ion. This one is going to be serving as a nucleophile, carboxylate ion. So the compound opted is RCOOR plus AZX. RCOOR is what type of molecule? This one belongs to the family of esters. Whenever any particular alkyl halide is treated with a nucleophile containing carboxylate ion, the formation of what compound takes place? Ester. Ester compound formation takes place. CH3Br plus this is AgCOOCH3. When it is reacted with this molecule, AgBr gets eliminated. This complete group is acting as a nucleophile which replaces the bromine atom. So this is CH3COO and CH3 plus AgBr. What's the name of this compound? Totally how many carbon atoms are there? 3 carbon atoms, but all the 3 carbon atoms are not present in the longest chain. So this should be number 1, this should be number 2. Okay. The structure of this compound CH3, C double bond OO, this is CH3. This should be number 1. It is number 2 carbon atom as I mentioned here. It is called as methyl. This methyl is because of this group methyl. 2 carbon atoms are there, ethanoate. Methyl ethanoate is the IUPAC name of this compound and common name of this compound is going to be methyl acetate compound. Methyl acetate. So number of compounds are possible. Formation of esters compounds are going to be possible by using this type of substitution reaction. Here X is replaced by this particular carboxylate ion. Number of example you can mention in case of this type of reaction. CH3CH2Cl and this is AgCOO and next one is CH3. What happens here? The compound opted is CH3, CH2, COO, CH3, right? Plus AgCl. Write the IUPAC name of this compound first. What is the IUPAC name of the compound produced in that reaction? IUPAC name of the compound. Totally how many carbon atom? 4 carbon atom, but only 3 carbon atom are present in the longest chain. It is a methyl group. So this compound is methyl propanoate. Methyl propanoate. Methyl is because of this group. It is not getting the number, not numbered. Propanoate is because of longest chain consists of 3 carbon atom propane and O8 is because of the presence of ester functional group. So this is replaced substitution, that is substitution by using alkoxide, that is carboxylate ion. Next one, replacement, or you can say substitution by S minus group, substitution by HS minus group, that is HS minus group. It is commonly called as thiol group, thiol. Then formation of another class of compound, thiols, takes place. Thiols are going to be very similar to alcohols. This group is going to be very similar to OH minus. Both are going to be similar. Oxygen and sulfur also belonging to the same group in the periodic table. It is an hydroxide ion. This one is going to be commonly called as hydrosulfide ion. Hydrosulfide ion. When Rx alkyl halide is treated with any compound containing SH minus, we can write NaSH. So when this particular compound is going to be there, when this reagent is treated with alkyl halide, elimination of NaH takes place. Now this is the compound of RSH plus NaX. This compound is generally called as thiol, commonly called as thiol. What is the name of this compound? It is known as alcohol. What is the difference between thiol and alcohol? Here oxygen is replaced by what? Sulfur. Wherever sulfur compounds are going to be there, generally it is called as thio compounds. And nitrogen compound are going to be commonly called as azo compounds. So this is sulfur containing compound, very similar to alcohol. So it is commonly called as thiol compound. One example, CH3Cl plus, this is going to be NaSH, sodium hydrosulfide. What is the product obtained here? This is CH3, next one SH plus NaCl. It is known as methyl thiol. This compound is commonly known as methyl thiol compound is going to be produced. So this is substitution, that is by using hydrosulfide group, SH minus group, formation of respective thiol compound takes place. Now I mention the formation of the particular compound, then you mention GH. Here I will mention formation of thioethers. Formation of thioethers. Then substitution by what type of group? Just to mention this. Substitution by which group leads to the formation of thioethers? Thioethers are those compounds which are going to be very similar to ethers. As these thiol compounds are similar to alcohols, so thioethers are going to be very similar to ethers. Ethers are represented by ROR dash. Okay. Thioethers are represented by RS R dash. What's the difference here? Oxygen is again replaced by sulfur. Here also oxygen is replaced by sulfur, thiol. Here also this particular ether, in case of ether, oxygen is replaced by the sulfur. These compounds are called as thioethers. Then what should be the corresponding nucleophile here? The nucleophile is going to be, this is RS minus. RS minus. Okay. Now this is Rx alkyl halide. When this alkyl halide is treated with NaSR, difference NaSH and this is NaSR, and alkyl hydrogen is replaced by alkyl group. So the formation of R, this is S, it is R dash. You can consider this one as R dash. This is NaX. Now this compound is commonly called as thioether compound. One simple example, CH3 Br plus, this is sodium sulfur with methyl group. So the compound obtained is going to be, what is that? CH3, this is S, next one CH3 plus NaBr. Now this compound is commonly known as dimethyl thioether compound. Dimethyl thioether. Now these compounds are generally referred to be as mercaptans. These compounds are referred to be as mercaptan compounds. Mercaptans are going to be commonly used in case of LPG. To detect the smell leakage, we are going to be using that ethyl mercaptan. That ethyl mercaptan is a compound that is C2H5SH. Ethyl mercaptan compound C2H5SH. So wherever that corresponding group is going to be there, it is commonly called as dimethyl thioether compound. So these are all the different types of compounds obtained in case of nucleophilic substitution reactions by using alkyl halide compounds. Only we have used about alkyl halides. After completion of this one, we will go with the corresponding aryl halides. After these nucleophilic substitution reactions, next one we have to go with the important mechanisms of this substitution reactions, that is SN1 mechanism and SN2 mechanism. But in case of SN1 as well as SN2 mechanism, as I mentioned earlier, we will come across with the stereochemistry part, that is optical activity of the corresponding compound. We will come across with the retention of configuration, inversion of configuration, what is meant by racemic mixture. So in order to understand that concepts of retention, next one is going to be inversion. After that, racemic mixture, what is the meaning of racemic mixture, what is meant by chiral carbonatum. It is necessary for me to explain first about optical isomerism, concept of optical isomerism. Once if we discuss about complete optical isomerism, then we can concentrate on SN1 and SN2 mechanism. If I start directly SN1 as well as SN2 mechanism, in case of SN1 mechanism, we will come across with the formation of racemic mixture, that is retention, inversion. So many different concepts, optical active, optical inactive. In order to understand the clear picture of SN1 and SN2 mechanism, it is mandatory to know about the optical isomerism in case of haloalkanes. So now I will start with the optical isomerism in case of organic compounds. I will go with haloalkanes as well as some other important compounds which exhibits optical activity. And you must understand what type of compounds exhibits optical isomerism, what type of compounds are optical inactive compounds. To exhibit optical activity and what optical isomerism, what are the necessary conditions? So optical isomerism, in case of this one, optical isomerism, first I will explain about the introduction to this particular optical isomerism. Then what is the meaning of chiral carbonatum or stereocenter. Next one, what are enantiomers and what are diastereomers. We will come across with the meso compounds also. And after that, as per NCERT, we have discussed about retention, then inversion as well as racemic mixture. And also if you go with some other particular compounds in examination, even you may come across with R and S configuration also. What is R configuration and what is S configuration? In this part of optical isomerism, we will discuss all these parts related to the optical activity of the compounds. Optical isomerism basically is a type of stereoisomerism in which compounds having same molecular formula, same structural formula, but they differ in the rotation of plane polarized light. Plane polarized light. Any compounds which differs in the rotation of plane polarized light, those compounds are generally referred to be as optical isomers. And process or phenomenon is commonly called as optical isomerism. So two or more compounds which differ in the rotation of a plane polarized light. What's the meaning of plane polarized light? Suppose if I take an ordinary light, this ordinary light is propagating in all the possible directions. This is an ordinary light which oscillates, which propagates in all the directions. When this light is passed over the Nicol prism, major it contain calcium carbonate, Nicol prism. What happens? This Nicol prism which converts this ordinary light into plane polarized light. That is, this is commonly called as plane polarized light which oscillates in only one direction. Polarization is not be there. which is this Nicol prism is converting ordinary light into this one is called as plane polarized light. Now depending upon the rotation of plane polarized light, depending upon the rotation of the plane polarized light, we classify the compounds into optically active compounds and optically inactive compounds. Suppose in case of some compounds, suppose this is a particular plane polarized light, just you assume, if that plane polarized light is going to be propagating, this direction is going to be in case of clockwise direction, the compound is commonly called as dextrorotatory compound. Compound is generally known as dextrorotatory. This is the plane polarized light. If this plane polarized light is going to be oscillating, if it is oscillating towards in this right side, or if it is going to be moving towards the clockwise direction, the compound is commonly called as dextrorotatory. Sometimes there is a possibility that that particular plane polarized light is going to be moving in anti-clockwise direction. In that case, the compound is referred to be as levorotatory compound. It is a dextrorotatory, that is possible whenever the rotation of plane polarized light takes place in the right side, that is in clockwise direction. If this is going to be in right side, it is called as dextro. If this is going to be in left side, that is anti-clockwise. If this one takes place in case of anti-clockwise direction, then the compound is said to be levorotatory. And third possibility is that this is a corresponding plane polarized light is going to be there. If this plane polarized light is not deviating, it is not rotating towards clockwise or anti-clockwise direction, then the compound is said to be optically inactive compound. When it is said to be optically active compound, the compound is said to be optically active compound whenever the particular compound rotates the PPL. It is referred to be as PPL. Compound is rotating PPL towards right side or towards the left side. If it is rotating towards right side, it is called as a dextrorotatory. If it is rotating towards left side, it is called as levorotatory. If the compound does not rotate the PPL towards right side or left side, it is said to be optically inactive compound. And basically, after seeing a particular molecule, after seeing a particular organic compound, how to decide whether it rotates dextro or whether it rotates PPL towards right side or towards left side. There are some particular conditions are there. With the help of these conditions, it is possible to know whether the compound is said to be optically active or optically inactive in nature. To exhibit optical activity, only first condition I will explain in today's class. Only one condition, that is the compound must contain one or more. The compound must contain one or more chiral carbon atoms. Wherever chiral carbon atoms are present, in that case the compound may be optically active. We cannot say that whenever the compound is containing chiral carbon atom, it is always optical. That is a wrong statement. If the compound is containing one or more chiral carbon atom, then it may be optically active because some other particular conditions are going to be there. Those conditions also must be fulfilled by the particular molecule. One or more chiral carbon atom. Chiral is also called as asymmetric carbon atom. What is the meaning of chiral or asymmetric carbon atom? Suppose this is a carbon atom. It is bonded to four different types of groups or atoms. This is hydrogen, this is hydrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen. For a primitive organic compound, methane. So the compound must be sp3 hybridized, and second condition is that all atoms or groups attached to carbon atom must be different. That is a condition to exhibit optical activity. First condition, sp3 hybridized carbon atom. On that sp3 hybridized carbon atom, all the atoms or groups must be different. Here, same hydrogen atoms are present. When same hydrogen atoms are present, this carbon atom is not a chiral carbon atom. It is a chiral carbon atom. It is not a chiral. It cannot exhibit optical activity. Next one, if I go with carbon, this is hydrogen, this is fluorine, it is chlorine, this is going to be bromine. Concentrate here. So if you consider this particular example, carbon, hydrogen, fluorine, bromine, chlorine. It is sp3 hybridized carbon atom, and all the four atoms which are present on this carbon atom are different: chlorine, fluorine, hydrogen and bromine is present. This particular carbon atom is referred to be as chiral carbon atom. So this compound may exhibit optical activity provided if it satisfies other different types of conditions. So this type of carbon generally called chiral carbon atom or asymmetric carbon. If I take another compound CH3 and this is CH3, it's a molecule of propane. What's the total number of carbon atoms here? 3. Out of 3, how many are chiral? No carbon atom is going to be chiral because this is connected to 3 hydrogen atom. It is bonded to 2 hydrogen atom. It is also bonded to 3 similar hydrogen atom. It's not a chiral molecule. So, if I go with another example, CH3, CH, COOH, and this is going to be OH. So this compound is commonly called as lactic acid, 2-hydroxypropanoic acid. What's the total number of carbon atoms in this compound? Total carbon atoms in this compound is going to be 3 are there. Out of 3, how many carbon atoms are found to be chiral? This carbon atom bonded to 3 hydrogen atom, it never be chiral. It is bonded to oxygen and moreover it is not an sp3 hybridized carbon atom. It is sp2 hybridized carbon atom, it cannot be chiral. Only carbon atom left out is going to be this one, it is chiral carbon atom. This is carbon, okay, this is going to be COH, next one is going to be OH, and here it is CH3, this is going to be H. So this carbon atom is referred to be as chiral carbon atom. Wherever such type of one or more chiral carbon atoms are present in the compound, so those compounds can exhibit optical activity in the particular case. So such type of compounds are said to be optically active compound, provided if it satisfies the next condition. So this is about presence of chiral carbon atom or asymmetric carbon atom. It is also called as chiral carbon atom is referred to be as stereocenter. According to stereochemistry, stereocenter. If you refer the NCERT book, in that one also they have mentioned presence of this particular stereocenter or chiral carbon atom, which is necessary condition to exhibit optical activity by that particular molecule. So in next class we will continue with the next condition to exhibit optical activity, that is plane of symmetry or center of symmetry of the corresponding compound. Those compounds which exhibits that plane of symmetry or center of symmetry, probably wherever there is no plane of symmetry or center of symmetry, such compounds can exhibit optical activity. This is not the only one condition to exhibit optical isomerism. In addition to this one more condition, that is the absence of plane of symmetry and absence of center of symmetry by the molecule, that is a necessary condition to exhibit optical activity. Once if you complete about optical isomerism, then we can conveniently we can understand very easily we can understand about SN1 and SN2 reaction, right? Tomorrow we will continue with the next condition, second condition to exhibit optical activity by the molecule. Thank you.